So let me hit the live button there. Hello, hello, hello. All right, everybody, welcome into another episode of We Are What's Left Wednesday. All right. So we have a very, very, very special guest. So you know what that means, Royal Family. Make sure that you are showing our guests a love and making them feel more than welcome to be in the Royal Palace. You know, it's full of kings and queens up in this bitch. Now, my guest does not need an introduction, but his impact deserves one.
My God.
Oh, come on, Marks. Thank you. He has made a name for himself on this app by saying what others think but won't say. Someone who doesn't just join the conversations but has shifted them. He has opened eyes that didn't want to see, challenged beliefs challenged but other people's beliefs, and and even flipped a few individuals who came in arguing and left
my
thinking.
God.
Oh, they said they're not playing. They finna get on it and show love right off the rip. So thank you guys so much. Also, too, he's loved by many, hated by those who secretly want to be him or be with him, and respected by all who understand that the truth does not need to yell; it just needs to land. So, known for his quick wits, quick in his one-liners, cookie bacon bitches being one of my favorite. Very cool demeanor who makes chaos look calm, you guys. Please, please, please welcome in Mr. Casso himself. All righty then. Thank you so much for being here. Oh my God.
Appreciate it, bro.
Of course, no, I appreciate
appreciate it.
you. I didn't think we was gonna be able to get you to camera today, but it's good to see you. They said Casso in the building. So make sure you guys share the live. Share it. Y'all know we make sure they at least get to like 5 or 10K. So make sure y'all continuously show love. Now, now I remember the first time that I came across your live, and it seemed like you popped up out of nowhere. Considering the fact that you had been there since February and you were going on one of your rants, and I just remember laughing my ass off, like, who is this nigga? So if you could tell us a little bit about how you got into politics and what led you to really just start going live.
I ain't gonna say too much because I don't want to dox myself, but I got a family member who in politics, and he was like he broke the mold in my state for accomplishing something politically. So my brother has always been in politics. I've always been a part of his process. But being honest with you, I just been too street to just be outright in his inner circle, and I'm okay with that. I'm cool with that. We all have different paths. I have 9 siblings, so we kind of all went our separate ways. We had a effed up start, but we took advantage of it. We made the best of it. I probably made the most mistakes out of all my siblings, to be honest with you. So for me to come back around full circle and be able to talk about politics on TikTok, I think it's pretty cool. And I think my brother like it because he's always wanted me to take a liking to, politics, but I chose other things. But for me, just getting involved in the TikTok space, just when I jumped on TikTok, I was just a listener. I didn't know what TikTok Live was. I've always been into like Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter and that sort of stuff.
Right.
So I just kind of created a TikTok Live, and then I came into the conversations. But for me, it was the misinformation in the conversations and honestly, the way that Black people allowed it. I jumped on TikTok and I just heard the way they were bashing Black women, saying, "Oh, Black women receive all the food stamps and welfare. Black women this, Black women that." And I know just based off, history and just information that I've had access to. I'm like, yo, that's not the truth. The food stamp thing is what really bothered me. I'm like, there's no way that all of these Black people on TikTok and they're not correcting these white people when it comes to who got food stamps first. So that's kind of like my introduction. I went up on a panel. I'm like, hey, man, y'all wrong. Like, Black women not food stamp welfare queens. This woman got it in 1939. She was white. This woman got it in 1962. She was white. White folks got mad as hell about it. But the Black people, I can tell it kind of gave them some sort of motivation and some sort of encouragement. And you can hear the relief in them, knowing that it wasn't us first that benefited off the system. So at that point, I started, coming into the TikTok lives more and just becoming more involved in the conversations. Then I came across Skeptic Live, and I was like, "Oh shit, Skeptic got a lot of good information, but Skeptic like super nerdy." So Skep would be up there trying to get her, she trying to get her information off, and MAGA just be up there stepping on Skeptic. And she's like, according to data on the U.S. Census report, and MAGA's just going crazy on her. So I'm like, Skeptic, let me up here, man. Let me can help you control this shit. So Skeptic like, cool, come on, you can control it. And that's kind of like what the start was. Skeptic, well, me, Skeptic, and King J. King J in the military, so you know they got a lot going on. He hadn't been a part of the conversations lately, but he used to always let me up on his panel as well. So that's just kind of how I got it, got involved in it. I didn't know it was a political debate space. I just knew that people were saying things that weren't true. So I was like, I got to get involved in it and kind of correct the information that they sharing with each other.
Because you've been on here since when? It's going on a year now, right?
Yeah, March.
Oh,
and then almost a year now.
I didn't find you till I feel like it was like August, October or something. So that's what made me be like, where the hell you just popped up out of nowhere? Not gonna lie, it was very refreshing, considering just like the type of, I would say like I don't want to say the hole or the hill that it was going down, but it was refreshing to just kind of hear it even in a different space. And so, and then I know that you have the bridge party. What motivated that?
Just the space with Skeptic. Like being real with you, just certain people, just me, I didn't know certain people existed, right? So I didn't know we had Black men who were this misogynistic and this anti-woman. I didn't know that Black and brown people had these sort of issues with each other because I've never had those issues. Now, granted, I feel like, me playing sports and shit growing up, and I always kind of been like a socialite and a popular person. Obviously, my life and my experience can be kind of different than most people's life and most people's experience. But TikTok kind of open you up to just everybody, right? So, me coming to this, I'm like, damn, like we really have some problems. And the problems that we have are counterproductive to what we need to be doing as people, you feel me? So me and Skeptic conversations is really what pushed me towards the Black and brown unity thing. Skeptic will tell you, like when I first got on, I'm normal now. When I first got on TikTok, like this shit was wild. Like I was saying the most wild shit you can think of. Like if y'all think I say wild shit now, like nigga, my first 2-3 months on this bitch, I had to have at least 6 pages banned. I was just going crazy. But I used to go with brown people a lot, honestly. Like the Mexican folks, the same sort of rhetoric that FBA have, I had a lot of that same sort of rhetoric as well, just out of ignorance, you know what I'm saying? But then I had to sit back and, just kind of think on it. And when I thought about the Hispanic Latino community, I'm like, yo, they have something that they're dealing with in their community that they trying to fight as well in terms of colorism. So we kind of condemn the entirety of brown America, not understanding that they have people in their community who are actually white people. They just happen to speak Spanish. Like these Portuguese and Spaniard people, they don't identify with anything indigenous. Like they don't feel like they're brown people. They actually are white people, and that's their understanding. So with that understanding, I'm like, yo, maybe there's some room to grow. Maybe we can come together with the actual brown indigenous people, Afro-Latino people. Now the white passing Hispanic folk who want to call themselves white people, you just cut them loose and move on from it. But Skeptic played a big part in it, and we will be in and out of the MAGA streets having conversations. And Skeptic, she'll be standing on 10. Like Skeptic will really be saying, hey, y'all wrong. Black people doing this, Black people do that, Black women do this, Black women do that. What really made me just go in on like the bridge part and Black and brown unity, went alive one day with MAGA women, Black MAGA women. It's
That's
Skeptic
so
versus, man, look, it's Skeptic versus 3 Black MAGA women. Skeptic like, no, y'all the most educated. And the Black MAGA women like, no, it's Asian women. You don't know what you're talking about. So this shit blew my mind. I'm like, hold up. A Mexican woman arguing with 3 Black women about them being the smartest demographic in America or most educated demographic in America. And they fighting back with her, trying to convince her that it's Asian women. I was like, nah, we have to find a community to come together with. Because if white America's stealing some of our Black people and stealing their damn mind like this, then we're going to have to do something to shore up the ranks and make sure that we have enough people to go to political or social war if necessary. So, Skeptic and I just started to have more conversations. And then, Black and brown unity just kind of makes sense. Black folk, brown folks, all of us going through shit. And I feel like we all need some sort of compassion. We all need some sort of unionship. And we all need allies. Like, you can't be isolated in America, Jess, and get anything accomplished. And even white people understand that. We think about white folk and we see white folk, but white people are different factions of people as well. You have Irish people, Italian people, Russian people, German people. You got the Hispanic community who pass as white. They consider themselves as being white. You have some Arabs and some Iranian people who consider themselves to be white. And you have Asian Americans who consider themselves to be white. And all of them over there pretending to be one thing, which is white. And everybody over here with some melanin, trying to find ways to be different and separate and divide ourselves. And it just make us weaker. So for me, it's like nothing else makes sense but black and brown unity. I don't care about what FBA pushing. I don't give a damn what the Klan pushing or Black MAGA pushing. It's nothing they can say to me that's gonna make me hate immigrants, especially Latin American or brown immigrants to the country. Because I know at the end of the day, more brown people in the country just help us just.
Aren't you the founder of FBA South?
Man, just FBA South. We delineated away from delineation. So if they not from the South, they not the real deal. And they hate that shit. Just when I tell FBAs like, yeah, you a tether, you from up north, you're an abolitionist. They hate this shit. But how can you hate it, but you also making other people feel that same way? You feel what I'm saying? But that's just what it is. But yeah, I'm the founder of FBA South. So anybody who want to be down with that shit, just acknowledge the fact that the South is where it is and where it's always been. And if you don't connect with the experience of black people from the deep South, then you're not a real black person in this country. Not in my eyes. Yeah, I don't need Negroes from Massachusetts and New Hampshire, New York, Chicago. I give Detroit some grace because I know a lot of folk from Mississippi ended up in Detroit. But outside of Detroit and Chicago, black people from anywhere else outside the South, you're not gonna tell me what it is to be a real black man or how to be a real black man. I'm just not, I ain't going for it.
Nobody from Nebraska?
Definitely not Nebraska. Definitely not Nebraska. Not Nebraska. Definitely not Nebraska, Jess.
I'm screaming. So when we say black and brown unity, like what does it actually look like, like in practice in your eyes?
Political unity. You can't make people be best friends with other people. And a lot of folk get it confused because they think that's what it is. So they'll look at it like, hey, I have to go out here and find me a best friend who brown. Oh, brown people don't like me. It doesn't matter as long as they vote like you. And when it comes to Mexican people, about 70% of Mexican people already voting Democrat. So you don't have to convince them of anything. That's a bridge that's already built. That's a bridge you don't even know exists. You can already use that Mexican-American, Black American bridge. It's already built. We just have to get over the small issues like what's going on in LA, gang issues in Texas. And we have to understand that like regular civilians, we don't live by gang culture. We don't live by jail culture. As soon as you get to having these conversations, people talking about what's going on in Compton or what's going on in other parts of Cali, what's going on in the jail system. We not in jail and we not in South Central LA. So we have nothing to do with that. We in other parts of the country trying to make political relationships and friendships or allyships make sense. So for me, just black and brown unity is going to the polls and voting alike, getting black and brown officials elected so they can work our agendas. It's either black and brown unity in terms of trying to change the way politics look for us in our community, or it's just going to be more white folk going up to DC trying to pretend to be fighting for black people. I'm at that point where I'm not comfortable having white folk fight for me. I'm not sure if a white person even know what it. I know they don't understand what it is to be black, but in terms of what we go through, they don't understand that as well. They look at pain and poverty and unemployment, and they think all of these different issues are caused by the same things. We may be going through the same thing as black people and white people or brown people, but it's for different reasons. White folks, y'all dealing with unemployment, y'all dealing with healthcare issues, y'all dealing with a lack of funding in terms of education because of racial ideologies. They go out and vote. White folk go out and vote for the Republican Party over and over again, just they don't get anything for it. So they're in poverty and shit because they're being manipulated. We're in poverty in large part because the system itself is attacking us. Now they're looking at it like, hey, we don't have anything. You don't have anything because you don't want anything. If you're in a deeply rooted red conservative state, if you wanted more, you will vote differently. How can you get the same results over and over again? But you go to the goddamn polls and vote for Republican leaders over and over again. You don't ever get anything out the deal, but you think it's black folks, you think it's Democrats. They look at us and they don't understand hey, we cannot have simply because we black. You can go in a bank with an 800 credit score and $30,000 in your pocket and still be denied for some mysterious reason.
Yep.
There's not a white person in America who gonna walk into any of these banks with an 800 credit score and $30,000 in cash and not leave out their bank with what they want. the people in that bank gonna make it happen for them.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's just we have to protect ourselves as a community, and we have to change the way that our leaders look in Washington D.C. I'm tired of white folks leading black people. It's just that simple. I'm not comfortable with white leadership. It fails too often. Just it always fails. They always come back and tell us what they weren't able to do. White politicians never come back with the mission accomplished. A white politician never gonna knock on your door and say, "Hey, I got that goddamn mission accomplished. That funding is on the way, baby." They're gonna come back and say it was too hard in DC. They too bigoted. Oh, the venture capitalist groups in DC, APAC so wild. I don't hear that shit. I'm tired of white folks coming back with empty hands and full lungs. A lot of excuses. So I'd rather lean into black and brown unity so we can have black and brown leadership. I feel like we can do more for ourselves than other people can do for us.
You know, and when we talk about like black and brown unity and people who want to participate in it, does it stop, or do you feel like it stop or start at voting? And what else can you do to like contribute to building that bridge? Is it just
It's
voting?
like for now, voting the
Mm-hmm.
easy thing to do. Like when you start to try to make people like each other socially, that's gonna take a while
Yeah.
because you don't know what a person's life experience is, right? I can't make a black person like brown people if they have terrible experiences, life experiences with brown people. I'm more likely to convince them to vote the same way as them without even having a conversation with them. I can say, hey, the brown people need this, we need that. It's kind of along the same party lines. You need to vote the way they vote because we can benefit from it. Now, if it's a black person who's been bullied or beat up by brown folk, what's the likelihood of me having one or two conversations with them and making them
Mm-hmm.
like black or brown people? They have some sort of trauma within their relationship that is going to be hard for you to break through with. So for me, you focus on the politics, you can become best friends later. I think the more we vote together, the more we familiarize ourselves with each other's culture. And the more that brown Americans, the more that they learn about black Americans, the better our social relationship will get. Brown people should realize and know now that they're not white people. And the ones who still pretend to be white people are dangerous for their own community. Now the brown people who are awake and who have realized that they're not white people, you got to start bringing yourselves closer to black people. And the only way you can bring yourselves closer to black people is learning more about black people. And there ain't no way that you can learn more about black people without falling in love with black people. So for me, you focus on politics. We focus on voting the same way, and then socially, things will kind of pull themselves into the direction that they should be in.
And you know, I was thinking because when you know how people used to say that black women they don't get along, they don't like each other, black women hate each other, whatever, whatever. And then the 92% number came out during the election, I'm a girl's girl. I love women. Period. I love black women. I love to cheer my friends on. Like I'm not that person. So it made me realize that the propaganda that black people don't like each other is what's been making us feel like we don't, like each other, even in spite of our own personal experiences. So my question to you is, do you think that we are more unified in spite of what the propaganda says? Because when we go out on TikTok, it looks like black and brown people don't like each other. Do you feel like that's propaganda, or do you feel like we really are more unified than they try to say that we are?
Uh, Honestly, I'm gonna keep it real. Just, I don't think people like each other. Period in America. I don't think it's just like I'm like real talk. Like because like when you look at what America about, like America about being a winner, and America is about becoming rich and becoming wealthy and becoming famous and becoming all of these things. Most people look at competition as a hindrance to whatever they want to accomplish in their lives. Like exceptional people look at competition and use that as some sort of motivation, right? But the majority of people just jealous hearted. So the majority of people look at you, they don't care what your message is. If you have more motion than them, more money than them, a bigger fan base than them, then they're gonna have a problem with you. You can be a woman out here doing hair. All right, you do hair for a living from the bottom to the top. As long as they see you grinding and doing hair at your house and all of this shit, they gonna support you. But as soon as you get a big, beautiful beauty shop and you put a Benz in front of it, guess what? Your clientele gonna dry up. All of a sudden, the women who used to come to you when you were doing hair at the house they're gonna find another beauty shop to go to, or they're gonna find another beautician to deal with. So I don't think it's a black versus white, black versus brown thing. I think the good majority of American people, period, are dream chasers. But unfortunately, the majority of people look at dreams, look at other people and their dreams as something that can hinder you and your growth and your progress. Man, success is unlimited. It does not matter. We should know. All right, in terms of billionaires, it's 1,000 white billionaires. It's 26 million white millionaires. This is just the white folks.
Mm-hmm.
And it's probably another 20 million, quarter million, or half a millionaires who are white people. So that in itself to tell you you can go get it and you shouldn't have a problem going to get it. People look for somebody to hate to justify why it is that they don't have everything that they want. I don't think that black and brown people are against each other. To be honest with you, Jess, I think for the most of our existence in this country, especially after civil rights, I think our two communities have been invisible because most of the time you have the black community and the brown community right next door to each other. How often do we interact?
Mm-hmm.
We never really interact outside of like Cali, but they dealing with gang violence in Cali.
Mm-hmm.
Any neighborhood in Cali, you can get fucked up. You can find yourself over there with the Koreans or the Chinese or the Japanese folks in Cali and get fucked up. So Cali ain't just a black versus brown thing. I think we have been invisible to each other because the status quo has always been white people. Not only have brown people been hyper fixated and focused on white America, but the black community also, we've been focused on white America because guess what? We want to live like the Joneses. We want to live like the white folks. We never said we want to live like the Gonzalez. You see what I'm saying? We want to live like the Lopez's. We don't say that. So what did it say? In terms of our journey and us trying to be successful, just we totally ignore each other's community.
Mm-hmm.
The brown community ignore the black community until they have to deal with the black community. In the black community, we ignore the brown community until we have to deal with their community. And that's been the problem. We living in poverty right next door to each other. And we don't even have conversations about the poverty that we living in. And that's the problem.
So but even some more conversations need to be had, I would definitely say, because and then when we talk about anti-blackness, and my question initially was going to be about like, do you think anti-blackness within the brown communities is talked about enough? But I think that it's a conversation that, do you feel like it's a conversation we need to have in the brown community as well as the black community? Because we're in a line for blackers and Trumps for Latino, and they all look like me and you, skin darker than me and you, then and still trying to be white. Do you think that how can we have more conversations about it? I know it'll get uncomfortable at times, but how do you feel like we need to have more conversation about it to be able to continue to bridge the gap?
We have anti-blackness.
Yeah.
As a community that we have to deal with. So we have to deal with our anti-blackness as the black community. I think it's more complex in Latin American culture. I think it's more complex than light skin and dark skin. Because like I said, they have actual white people in Latin culture.
So basically they think that they could actually reach it as opposed to like black people, y'all never be white unless you.
Well, that's right. So with black people, we can never be white.
Mm-hmm.
But some folks in Latin America are actually white people. Mm-hmm. Like you see some of these damn Cubans and Colombians and Argentinian people, these are white people, but they identify with a certain group of folks and they've been kind of pushed over into that group or category of people. I think it's tougher for brown America because first, the more indigenous brown people, they have to completely separate themselves from the brown people who consider themselves to be white people. They have to do something to differentiate themselves from them. Now, once they cut their portion of brown America off, then they can begin to have conversations with the more indigenous brown people about brown pride and not having colorism, run rampant through their community. But as long as we have Latin folk who are all bottled in together, it's gonna always be a problem because you'll have an Afro-Latino person and a Spaniard who we as Black Americans basically categorize as being the same thing, and they couldn't be further from the same thing. But that's the way we look at them. Mm-hmm. And that's the problem. Anti-Blackness, that's our issue to deal with as Black folk. It's far more complex than that in brown America.
Do you feel like the anti-Blackness comes solely at the root of it comes from white supremacy?
Yes.
And
Yes.
how do
I,
we
I
start to
think
like
that,
really tackle
but
that?
just I think it's the natural human bias to things. We like
Mhm.
what we like. So
Mhm.
there's always going to be some kind of little bias in life, whether you
Mhm.
dark skin, light skin, because people are human and they're gonna, prefer whatever it is that they prefer. My issue with it is when you make one thing better than another thing based on how that thing look. So when you say that light skinned women are better than dark skinned women based on the fact that they light skinned women or white women better than black women, or vice versa. However, and it don't happen that often, vice versa, but whatever. But when that sort of thing is taking place, where you just automatically pushing people towards the front of the line based on what they look, that's what I have a problem with. There's gonna always be preference.
Mhm.
You and I can't tell a person not to light skinned person not to date dark skinned people if that's their preference. That I'm perfectly fine with it.
Mhm.
But on a societal level, there shouldn't be any advantages extended to people based on whether your skin is light or whether your skin is dark. It should be actually based on merit, not the Trump bullshit merit that's going around now, but actually based on what you bring to the table.
And when we think about like, I feel like with everything that Black people went through as far as chattel slavery and everything, and shit, what the shit that we're going through today, as well as the brown community even taking over Mexico, kicking them out of their own shit, and then you know, letting them come back to work, then talking about putting up a border, and my thing is, why do you think that? What are things that they have implemented that keeps us fighting each other? Like you say, we live next door and we should be talking, but yet when we do finally see each other, why do you think we're fighting instead of each other instead of our oppressor or the person that's just trying to keep us down?
Look at it this way, Chiz. When they confine you to a cage, when they confine all of us to one cage, treat us like animals, and every so often they throw one bone in the cage. You don't have a choice but to fight for it. You don't
Hmm.
have a choice but to fight over it. And if you don't fight for it, you don't get it. You don't get it. You perish. White people did a great job of pushing all other people into one corner and then spoon feeding everybody in that corner. But not only that, when they spoon feed us all, just they also tell us that the people in the corner with us are the problem. So
Hmm.
we collectively, if we came together and thought one way, we could fight our way out the corner. But we're so worried about the other people who share the corner with us, or share the cage with us, or share the box with us, that we would much rather focus on them and fight over the scraps that this certain group in America throw inside the cage to us every so often. All of us fighting over the same fucking bone when white people standing over there feasting right in our faces. We never look over there. We never question what they have going on because we so focused on this goddamn bone that they throw us every so often. And that's our problem. I don't think that the issue is us not liking each other. The
Hmm.
issue is a lack of resources. When you look at FBA, what's one of the first things they say and do? They say, hey, these people got to get out the country. Why, Jess? Because they're taking resources from us. This is what they think.
Hmm.
And that sort of mentality is the reason why we can't come together and we can't really take the system head on. For me, I don't look at it like that. Look at it like that. I'm not fighting with no damn Mexicans for no factory job. I want a corner office. You're not gonna trick me or dupe me with this little treat that you threw another marginalized community. I want the same shit that white folk have. I want their same thing. They got a
Hmm.
certain type of house. I want. They got a certain type of car, job opportunity, tickets at a football game. I want it. That's always been my standard. Like when I go out, I go to a spot, I go to a restaurant or whatever. If I can't sit right there and be treated like these other people being treated, then you don't get my business. If I can't go to the game and have a certain level of quality of seat, I'm not going to the game. You will never catch a Negro like me sitting in the nosebleeds. You know why? Because you got me fucked up. You think I'm going all the way up top and these motherfucking white folk gonna trap their ass down courtside and pop their shit on me? No, I'm going down here courtside. I'm using AV. I'm cursing loud on the sidelines. I'm fresh as hell. I'm rocking jewelry. I'm doing whatever I want to do because they need to understand, hey, this shit, I can access the same thing that you can access. And when you
Hmm.
don't access the same things that white people access, that's how they come up with the division and separation in this idea that they more superior to you. White folks love playing an oppression game with black people. Don't ask for anything. You should do more for yourself. You know, when I approach white folks, my shit be so together. I don't even leave them no room to give me advice. You got to be a rich white person to give me advice because my shit gonna be so well put together, and I'm gonna have it so going on that you're not gonna have no advice to other than me because I
Mhm.
don't need your arrogance, I don't need your ego, and I don't need you telling me what it is to be a black man in America and how I need to navigate these systems in America. I don't take advice from white men. A white man couldn't fathom what it is that I go through. White man never jumped in a goddamn car and drove down the street and worried about a cop pulling him over because his white head was sitting in the car. They don't understand us. White men don't get followed around stores. A cop not gonna come out and feel immediately threatened by the fact that a white man standing there when he pull up and jump out his patrol car.
Mhm.
So why is it that some black men think they can take life advice from white men, especially white conservative men who don't care anything about the black community? You have black Republican men sitting around taking advice from white men, telling them, "Don't you speak about slavery? Don't you speak about your past? You should do that. You should do that." He need to be in Dayton, Ohio, somewhere, getting that, giving that advice to one of them young white boys who strung out on the streets, because that advice he giving you as a black man in America is not gonna benefit you. It's not. You're not gonna be able to go far with it because what's gonna happen is you're gonna take his advice and you're gonna go into the wrong space and try and work that space as if you are him, and you got either get your head cracked or you're gonna end up locked up for a long time.
Mhm.
So I don't take no advice from YT men, period. Whatever they gotta say, you can keep it and go find a white boy who need it and share that advice with him. I think that's more beneficial.
I have to agree. As an entrepreneur, and with the statistics about venture capitalist money and how obviously 80-90% of it goes to white men, other people of color, less than 0.1% to women, and then even less than that to black women. And then you'll talk to some different people and I'm like, yeah, I need help. Like, can you get me in touch with such and such? They're like, yeah, just call Oprah. I'm like, yeah, like I got fucking Oprah number. I don't know if that's a thing for y'all, but they don't understand. Like, as black people, we don't have all of the resources and the contacts, which is why we are asking you for the help, which is why we ask for the money. And then you have your business has to be this. You got to drop all the numbers, but Chad can literally go in there and lie about a business. The guy from Vice told them that somebody invested in his company that hadn't invested in the company, and they put in like millions and if not billions into it. They just go in there line, they give them the money, and it's okay. It's not the same. So, and then
Well,
go ahead.
just my brother had one of his homeboys, white boy, and he was on his shit. I'm not gonna act like the white boy didn't have nothing going on. Like he was a grinder. He was into like computer tech and shit. He got married young, divorced young, or whatever. But his credit ended up getting messed up. So the white boy had a bankruptcy, like a fresh bankruptcy, like a year.
Mhm.
So I'm with my brother. We pull up on him. And I'm like, damn, he got a new car in the driveway. He got a damn new car, and he had just filed for bankruptcy. I'm like some shit just impossible for us as black people. Like, you're not getting a brand spank new car as a black person with a fresh bankruptcy on your record. That's the kind of grace that's extended to them. Those are the type of things that we will never experience as black people. We go in qualified and get denied. My brother, white homeboy, went in there with a fresh bankruptcy and a divorce on his record, and he left the car out with a brand new car. It's their systems. That's what we have to understand as black people. We've been told that you have to go get your credentials together and be qualified and all this other stuff. No, you don't. Not if you're white. If you're white, all you have to be is white and have some sense and know somebody and be able to complain loud enough. And if you can do that, somebody will listen to you. They don't care about credentials when you're a white person. They don't care if your credit score good enough, and they don't care if you got $2 in the bank. They're going to figure out a way to make it happen. And I understand. I get it. That's what you do when you're in control of systems. You extend grace to people who look like you. I think it's natural to extend grace to other people. I think it's unnatural to have white people overrepresented in leadership positions. This is how they overly extend grace to each other. White men, 20 something percent of the American population, but they make up almost 80% of leadership positions. What does that mean? White men are in a position to overly extend grace to other white men. And this is what they do. They don't look at it as being biased because it's a natural thing. I'm a white man. I can see a little bit of myself in a younger white dude. I get that. I understand that. But the question is, why is 80% of the leadership positions filled by white men? You guys are in a position to be unfair, even if you're unfair indirectly. How do you fix that? You make sure black and brown folks, you make sure women are adequately represented in leadership positions. make sure that we have proper representation in situations and positions so we can extend grace to people who look like us. If we balance out the ability for all of us to fairly extend grace to people who look like us, then we'll by default deal with the racial issues.
Mm-hmm.
Can't do that if white people, if white men specifically, refuse to give up some of these leadership positions that they have because they're gonna do the natural thing, and the natural thing is to give people who look like you an opportunity.
Yeah, and then also too can contribute to the illusion that they are superior because so many people are giving it to so many of their own. Like you said, if we balance it out and give our own black privilege, because they have it, because they give it to each other, and we can have our own, continue to have our own black privilege, not only as we continue to infiltrate and expand into positions of power, but just each other. Like I always say, it's important that we give it to each other. But if you see your girl in the Chick-fil-A line, put an extra nugget in there. You see me
Yeah.
at the airport, bump me up to first class.
Hmm.
Things like, but seriously, from the small things to the big things like that. And we can have it if we just continue to look out for one another. And I think that's very important when and talking about that too.
Yeah.
And when we talk about even, infiltrating,
Hmm.
not only what does that look like, because when we talk about infiltrating, we talk about combating our oppressor. A lot of people think violence and chaos. What does real resistance actually look like, and some things we can do that does not necessarily include or jump straight to violence and chaos, or is that necessary? Yeah.
I mean, you do what people do to you. We have two-way rights.
Okay.
So I'm an advocate for two-way rights. Just if a person put their hand on you, you don't drop down on the one knee and start praying for them. You don't get to talking about Jesus or Mother Mary, goddamn
Turning no
Genesis or
cheeks.
Revelation. It's built to ask, and then after that you can pray and just pray that your charges aren't too bad. But in terms of giving people grace and praying, I'm not with all that. Like if a person disrespect you and they need to be put in line, then it's your job to put them in line. Because at the end of the day, like you're a human, you are human, and you should be respected the same way all other people are respected. The grace that people ask for, they should be able to extend it. Now, in terms of being revolutionary, I think it's going to be different because people are different.
Mm-hmm.
We are not our grandparents, and I'm not saying that in the best way. Our
Mm-hmm.
grandparents were willing to sacrifice, man. They went outside. They weren't distracted by phones and laptops and all this other shit. They got out of school, and what they did was put their marching clothes on. Black folk got out of school, took off the school clothes, put on the protest and the marching clothes, and they ran straight out the door, headed downtown to fight against the system. We're not doing that. The good majority of people are not willing to get uncomfortable. We are in these TikTok streets having these political conversations. But the average black, brown, or white person, they're not worried about political conversations until it come time to vote. So you can't expect them to be revolutionary at all in terms of them trying to fight back against the system. The way that we fight back is through black and brown unity and pushing representatives up to DC who look like us. We don't have to worry about fighting back on the ground level if we have people in DC with our temperament. It's all about the temperament. And that's why they don't like Jasmine Crockett. They can't
Mm-hmm.
let too many of those in. She a firecracker by herself, just her in there. Imagine seven Jasmine Crockett's running through the Senate or running through Congress or running through any other sector of the American government. They're gonna be overwhelming. White women can't deal with one Jasmine Crockett. Seven of them,
Mm.
everything that they want gonna get passed in a week. They will literally bully American politics. So that they're only gonna let so many of us in with that sort of temperament. So what we have to do is mask it and make it look different. So you can have a Jasmine Crockett, but you have to pair her with a more intellectual, modest, soft-spoken type of black woman, but who also gonna work that same sort of agenda as Jasmine Crockett. And then you throw a AOC in there. Then you go find you another Hispanic Latino woman who got that fire. You throw her in there. Then you go get you a couple others, and then you put them in the mix. We need politicians and representatives who gonna fight for us. We've done what we need to do as black people in terms of going down the streets and fight. Man, we've been protesting and marching and organizing since 1866, literally. A year after American slavery ended, we
Mm-hmm.
started getting together, coming together, marching, protesting, asking for shit. We're not going back outside as black folks, and we damn sure not going outside and fighting against the police, ICE, or the military. We're not doing that. We need our elected officials to do their goddamn job. They need to take their lazy asses up to DC and fight for the communities that they represent. If your job is to go get some funding for a marginalized community, so that you can deal with some sort of environmental issues that they're dealing with. Guess what, Judge? You have to come back with a check. You have to come back with a check for your constituents and tell them, hey, I went up to DC or you sent me up to DC. I came back, here go the check. We're gonna fix the environment. Whether that's same thing if it's healthcare, same thing as if it's funding for education, same thing if a certain community need a new park, a new community center, a new swimming pool. Like we just have to hold these politicians to a different standard. Us going out in the streets, that's over with. Politicians who we elect, they need to fucking get up off their ass and fight for some shit because they not fighting hard enough.
I agree. Let's take a quick commercial break. You guys give me a follow if you've not done so. If you're not following Casso, I don't know what you're doing with your life. I know you are, because how could you not be? Alrighty then. Tap screen share the live. Make sure you guys are showing Casso so much love, make him feel well at home at in the Royal Palace. You guys, we are the royal family, all kings and queens. It is an episode of We Are What's Left Wednesday. We are the American people. We are what's left. Um, uh, a group of creators, a directory of creators who all fight for something different. You know, we are taking back the narrative of what it means to be on the left, however that looks for you, because we are not all perfect and we are not all the same. And we should know and be able to see how different that looks. Yeah, so close out the gift goal. Check out the poll at the top. Our moderators will continue to put it. It will have the bridge party on Schminvo. For Casa, if you guys would like to show him some love directly, it would be greatly appreciated. I'm Jessica Cymone on the green and blue. You guys will show love directly, but make sure y'all gifting our guest and showing him a much love. All righty then. And keep tapping, you guys. We're almost at 200K, if I'm not mistaken. Almost halfway there. So keep tapping. Let's see if we can get up to 500 before it's over. And share it to your story. Share it with a friend. Repost it. And keep engaging. Thank you all for being here. Oh, also, too, if you have another device, put it in the YouTube. We are live on the YouTube as well. All righty then. And Casso, I don't know if you're still there. I'll give you a second.
No, I'm here. Just
Okay. So when it comes, you talked about like us being in positions of power and getting into, in the House and the Capitol. What are some positions of power that Black and Brown communities should be targeting right now that we often ignore? Because I think that's starting with the president, Senate.
Yeah.
It's like starting from the top down. And we do definitely want to make sure we got a good foundation, because a lot of things could be passed. What do you think some things that people could go for that we often ignore that could also too make a difference?
we need governors.
Mm-hmm.
We've had everything else. We need people in power positions. We need Black and brown governors. Governors make it happen. Governors make it happen. These, especially in red Republican states, we're being restricted by Republican governors. We have Democratic mayors all over the country who fighting like hell, who want to make something happen, who want to make some change. But it's only so much a Democratic mayor can do if a conservative governor is standing in the way, or if a moderate governor is standing in the way. So I would say we need more progressive-minded people on school board. I can deal with the school boards. So more progressive-minded people on school boards specifically. But outside of that, we need governor seats. We don't have enough Black and brown folks who are governors. In this whole blue wave that's been going on, in the blue wave, we've seen nothing but white women get elected. I think maybe 3 white women over the past year with these special elections have been elected to governor seats. And that's more the same bullshit that I be talking about in terms of us as a community. We going from one side to the other side in terms of white leadership. We going from white Republican folks to white Democrats. We just went from white men, now we going to white women. White women gonna get their turn to hold the goddamn rope. Now you got to ask yourself, how hard white women gonna fight for you and what you need as a Black or brown person. And you can determine how hard they're gonna fight for you based on how hard have they fought for themselves. Now, when you look at the white community, white women haven't been successful in getting any sort of gun legislation or reform passed to protect their children in a school setting. So you think I want a woman fighting for me who hadn't got one piece of reform or legislation passed to protect her children in a school setting? We have 300, 400,000 grape kits sitting up. Now, you know one thing about it, they're not gonna miss a chance to lock up a Negro.
Yep, they'll
So
put
if
it
they
on
felt
them.
right, if they felt that those 350,000, 400,000 grape kits were black men, guess what? They would have been tested them. So now we know those grape kits don't belong to black men. What does that tell you? White women hadn't fought hard enough for those grape kits to be tested. Now, we're looking at the fact that white children aren't safe in a school setting. We're also looking at the fact that white women haven't been able to get 400,000 grape kits tested to bring some sort of justice to victims in their community. Then we go into the fact that America, white America, dealing with a public health crisis in terms of the smopioid crisis. So YT women can protect their own children in their own households. Your baby downstairs in the basement doing smugs. Your baby upstairs in his room doing smugs. Your baby hanging out with his friends vaping. He only 7 or 8, but he already vaping. So YT women fail their children. They fail to get gun reform. They fail to get SA and grape kits tested in their community. They fail to teach their sons to be humane, because all this shit we see going on outside is for one reason and one reason only. White men go unchecked in America when they get any sort of authority. They don't hold themselves accountable. They are cruel. They are inhumane.
Who raised you?
Exactly. So now we know who raised them. So that's what I say. When we talk about these governor seats, we're talking about white women becoming governors. And they're going to do the white woman thing, jump up and down on stage and do the fist pump and shit. They're not going to fight for shit. Nothing going to happen. I guarantee you there's nothing that's going to happen, because I understand the dynamic of white America, and white men dominate white America. See, these conservative black men have a problem with black women, because you'll lock a black man and a black woman in a room. Depending on who the woman is, she might come out that motherfucker with a victory. You lock a white man and a white woman in a room, he coming out with the victory 99.9% of the time. White women not capable of defeating and beating white men. They can't do it. So you mean to tell me, as a black person, I'm going to be okay with a white woman going up here to DC and fighting for me, getting locked in the goddamn room with some Johnny Ribs, crazy white boys at that. Just her and them in that room, and she fighting for me as the governor of my state. And you think she gonna come out that room victorious? She's not gonna come out that room victorious. The governor from I don't know if it's the governor, Murkowski from Alaska. You know Murkowski, right?
Yeah, I remember her flipping.
They did an interview on her up at Capitol Hill. She was coming out of office or somewhere, just absolutely shook. She's shaking and shit, acting like she has seen a ghost. Hey, Miss Murkowski, what happened in there? I don't know what happened in there. I know. I'm just worried about. Yo, don't send her in the room to fight for me. You ain't seen no goddamn ghosts in there. Them white men put your ass in the corner and told you to shut up, and you're not getting anything. Now you coming out there shaking
and vote
it.
Yes.
and vote yes. And she's squeezing her notepad, crying and shit, ready to run home and feed her goddamn gerbils. I don't want these white folks fighting for me. I'm tired of them fighting. They don't know how to fight. I want strong black leadership. I want strong, resilient, tested and tried brown leadership. Women like Jasmine Crockett, women like AOC. That's who we need to lean behind. We go all in on them and have them go up to Washington and fight for us. One thing I know about it, man, at least Jasmine Crockett gonna fight. Whether she win or lose, when they close that door and we can't hear what's going on inside, I am confident that Jasmine Crockett on the other side of that door, and she fighting and she making noise, flipping tables, snatching papers off desks, so she can try to get the agenda passed that's gonna benefit us as a community.
And even speaking of like tested and tried, that's another thing when it comes to like Jasmine Crockett and Tallarico, for example. Historically, when white men are pushed to the wall up against the corner, they cover their own ass, they throw you under the bus, they capitulate, they flip on you. And we have seen a lot of black and brown people have been tested and tried and still standing 10 toes down, just like Jasmine Crockett. So I don't understand why we would want to trust him to go to the Capitol under this regime. Because then as soon as they put the pressure on you, you ain't been in Congress yet. You just been sitting in Texas. As soon as they put the pressure on you, how I know you're not gonna flip? As soon as they dig up your browser history, how I know you're not gonna flip? You know what I mean? Whatever they bring to you, just not saying that they are allegedly in Minecraft, but you know.
Yeah.
But I think that's
just
important too.
I just don't have faith in white folk and white church folk especially. They pray too much. And I'm not with all that. They want to like pray and pretend, and they want to leave everything in Jesus' hands. It's easy to leave it in Jesus' hand when you got everything that you want.
Mm.
When you're a
Mm.
white person in America, you got your car, you got your house, you got money in the bank, your kids got a college fund. That shit don't take much to leave it in God's hands. You don't need anything. What I do when I need something, I can't pay my bills with leaving it in God's hands. You see what I'm saying? I pray for one thing and one thing only. I pray for strength. Give me the strength to get the fuck up and go out here and get this money. You think I'm gonna pray that my light bill gonna get paid and jump in the bed and put a cover over my head and think I'm gonna wake up with a paid light bill? It don't work like that. But YT people exist in such comfort that they can give you advice. Like, just pray, man, and leave it in God's hand. Man, you own your home, you got 2 vehicles, and you got about $100,000 in the bank. Yeah, you can tell me that, but that's not gonna work for me. So I have to get up and go out here and do it. James Tellerico, he just like the others. When they want to get elected, they sit down and they read a script on black folk. And then when they come up to a microphone, guess what? Just they reading off their script. What are black people complaining about? They like to play on your complaints. What are the black folks complaining about? This is what a man like James Tellerico gonna say. Figure out what you're complaining about, and then when he scroll his ass out there on that stage, he's gonna speak directly to what you've been complaining about. And you know what we gonna do as black folk? What we always done. Amen. Tell it, brother. That's right. He sure know what he talking about. Yes, he know what he talking about. That's the motherfucking problem. How he know what he talking about and he not a part of your community? Who he been listening to? And if he know this shit about you, why is it that he just now speaking on it? Tellerico been involved in American politics. Has he ever advocated for black people prior to him trying to run for Senate? I don't think so. So now all of a sudden you have schooled yourself in what it is that black folk need. Yeah, you know what we need because you want to play on our complaints. My thing is this: as black people, stop complaining out loud, and then see what white folk can do for you when they come to the conversation. When he scroll his ass up to the podium and speak to you, not knowing your complaints, let's see how relatable he is then. I would imagine that he open up his mouth and say some things that had nothing to do with you or your plight or your community, because these people do not know you. I don't give a damn what they say about Jasmine Crockett. I know that she know me. I know that Jasmine Crockett know what it's like to go to a damn HBCU homecoming and hear them bands rocking the stadium. You know what I'm saying? Her feet gonna get the pat. James Tellerico, you take him into a goddamn FAMU homecoming or something, he gonna be sitting there looking like a goddamn penguin. He not gonna know what's going on. So I want people who I relate to lead me. I don't care if they are successful, to be honest with you, and I don't care if they fail. At least I know they are like me and they understand me. I can't deal with people who don't understand who we are as black people continuing to fail in the name of black people. I also can't understand why it is that white people are so obsessed and fixated on leading black people. They leave their community and come to our community, leave their counties, come to our counties, and try to advocate or lead over us or rule over us. I grew up in the projects. If I didn't see you out there with me in the dirt as a white person, you bullshit. You don't really know anything about me. You reading off a script. So just we got to hold people more accountable in terms of who we select to be our leadership. And we also have to understand that if people don't truly know who you are, just they can't lead you. It's not even possible. If they don't know you, they can't lead you. I'll say this and then you can go to the next question, Jess. It's like the rainbow community. I'm not a part of the rainbow community, but I respect them. I would never put myself in a position to whereas I would have to lead people from the rainbow community and make decisions for them in that particular community because I don't know their struggle. I don't know their plight. You see what I'm saying? I don't know what they need. I can look at it from the outside in and say, I think they need this. But I don't know what it's like to have an issue that I can't take to my parents and explain to my parents. I don't know what it is to love a person and not be able to let people who say they love me know that I love that person. And white people don't do that one thing that you should do. You should know when you can't lead a certain group of people based on what they need. You lead people based on what people need. And if you can't identify with and actually provide them with what it is that they need, the adult thing to do, the mature thing to do is to take a step back and say, hey, I can't get you what you need. Let someone who can actually get this accomplished for you come up here and lead. if Tellerico meant any good, he would step the fuck down and let Jasmine Crockett lead black and brown folk in Texas. That in itself tell you that the white boy don't mean no good.
Mm. Y'all drop some crowns in the chat because you ate with that one. You definitely did, especially knowing that we need the representation, knowing that the majority of people in Texas are black and brown people. We hold that majority, and we need that representation. But no, I think as a white man, it should be me again. And I also want to tell a couple people if you don't want to run for anything as well, comptrollers and agriculture. Those are also some things that you can run for because they control the farming, they control getting the permits and stuff for that, especially the hemp and stuff like that. I don't know what the rules are in your particular state, but all of those were all of the like certifications and the permits come out of and the licenses come out of. So those are some things that people don't really pay attention to that also have a lot of impact on how much farmers can make, and how they could sell to the retailers and things like that. So those are a couple of other things you guys could go for that nobody ever really runs for, but you can really make a difference in too.
Yeah.
And so our next question, I think we gotta touch this. It was if this is a real thing, what unearthed FBA South?
What is it?
What how did FBA South start for you? And where
Me
can we get
beefing
a
with them
shirt?
on me beefing with them on TikTok. This really some East Coast West Coast type shit. So it don't mean much. Right now it don't mean anything beyond TikTok. It's just me speaking to them and you know in the same way that they try and speak to all the other black folk. The same way they try and be divisive, we have to show them that they don't own it. They can't tell us who it is that we should align ourselves with and who it is that we shouldn't like. Being a foundational Black American does not mean that you have to hate immigrants. It does not mean that you have to hate brown people. It does not mean that you have to view them as being an enemy of yours. Now,
Mm,
what made me, because I am, based on the definition, I am a foundational Black American, but I'm not going to align myself with the xenophobia that they
mhm.
display because I don't have any issue with immigrants. But more than that, no other person, no other man gonna tell me that I'm not black enough or that my experience as a black man in this country is not an experience that deserves to be listened to. I don't know who unalived and made these Negroes the new Black Panther Party, but you motherfuckers ain't European Newton and y'all don't speak for me. These Negroes are nothing more than barbershop Black Panthers. These are the dumb Negroes from the back of the classroom who fell asleep with their head on top of the textbook, not with their eyes on it. So it's nothing that they can tell me, and they're not going to determine who it is that I align myself with, or what it is that I need, or what it is that I need to go ahead and fight for me and my family. In terms of them and their leaders and lineage and all of that, I don't have a problem with black people trying to trace their lineage. If you're able to go back to 1800s, 1700s, 1600s as a black person and find out who it is that you are, just I think that's an amazing thing, and I think you should celebrate that. But what groups like what they are or what they say they aren't, because they always saying we're not a group. But
Mhm.
what factions like that are divisive for the community and they destructive for the community. We have to understand one thing: anti-brownness is not pro-blackness. You
Facts.
don't you don't make us better by pushing against other marginalized communities. Now, if FBA temperament was like mine when it came to white folk, I'd be full blown FBA. If they were out here going at the real one true enemy of the black community, man, I'd be all in with them. They have me in the boat, both legs, both hands, whole head in the boat. But they're not doing it.
They be
They do
cozying
the
up.
opposite. They do the opposite. They're
Right.
doing the opposite. They voting for the GOP. They support people who support the Triple K. They vote for this. They voted for this president. So nothing that they do makes sense. But again, these aren't intelligent black folks. All they need to hear is white people acknowledge them and whatever their complaint is. And as long as white folk acknowledge that complaint that they have, these particular type of black people are cool with that pat on the head. They told black I heard white conservative woman, Ann Coulter, I think her name is. She came out and said civil rights is only for black Americans.
Oh, I think
What?
I heard that too.
Civil rights are for all humans. Like, and these black people for them to think that they own civil rights and that they own the civil rights struggle in a way to where they can rework or reword who it's for, I think it's disgusting, because at the end of the day, our grandparents went out there and put their bodies on the line. You see what I'm saying? Older black folk back in the day fought for that. Now, if the older black folk back in the day would have fought for that and immediately came out and said, hey, this is only for us, we don't want nobody else experiencing this, maybe I have to ride with it. But Dr. King, Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey, last time I checked, all of these men supported movements that fought for the betterment of melanated people, period. Free Palestine is not a new term. Malcolm X was screaming that. You see what I'm saying? Free the brown community, free the black community, all marginalized people. Our grandparents as black people fought to see all other groups of marginalized people freed as well. We didn't just fight for civil rights for us. Now, it's unfortunate being black in this country and viewing it in hindsight and seeing that other communities were able to benefit from the civil rights legislation more than we have. I get that. But even if we're going to look at it that way and be mad, you're going to have to be mad at white women more than anybody else, because the white women benefited the most from affirmative action, and they benefited the most from DEIA. So even if we are pissed off at the fact that somebody else benefited from civil rights legislation more than black folk, it will still be white folks. It will be white women who you have an issue with. But these particular type of black folks, the FBA black folk, they look at other marginalized groups of people who don't have anything, and they want to fight those marginalized and restricted groups of people for the little bit that they do have and what they don't have. They can't ever convince me to try and go to war with undocumented folk. If you look at undocumented people as being your direct competition, you're a high school dropout. You're a failure in life, because ain't no motherfucking way an undocumented migrant gonna come into America and do shit that I can't do as a black American citizen. I don't look at them as being competition, because they're not my competition. Now, if you are a Amazon factory worker, if you are used to working at the Nike factory and ripping boxes open, if you a dum-dum who slept through your senior year and never got your goddamn high school diploma, if you a GED demon, you got to go out here and you got to go out here and fight for yourself. No, I'm for real, Jay. You got to go out here and fight for yourself. They want us to come outside and fight for them because they are a GED recipient who in direct competition with migrants for jobs. But they voted for Trump in the fact that 400,000 black women with multiple degrees lost their damn job. So let me get this straight. We're going to abandon the 400,000 black women who are overly qualified to go outside, join hands with the GED demons, and go to war with undocumented Mexicans. That shit don't make sense. I'm not with it. I'm not with it at all, Jess.
It ain't never made sense, because my thing is also too, I would say, like, what is talking about they taking the jobs? I'm like, y'all, if y'all been here in y'all Americans, why are y'all still trying to get those jobs? Why aren't, even if you don't want to be quote unquote an entrepreneur or business owner, why aren't you trying to be the manager, the CEO, the you know, and why aren't you going for other things? Why do you still want to be there? Especially as, you know, grown ass men. And because you didn't do what you were supposed to do when you were in school and you've been left behind, and this is what you have left, you mad at them because they coming over here and doing the same thing, or are able to do what they do. And not only did, I think also too that when it comes to like the jealousy thing we're talking about, I think they are also too angry that you come over here and I feel like I know you're getting paid less than I am, but yet you built in your house, you got a nice house, you got a nice car, you got money in your pocket. Like, how are you doing that? And that's also too some self money management that ain't taken care of too. But it's a I feel like it's a wheel of things, a culmination of things that's happening. So I just got a couple more. We won't hold you too much longer until you can get back to the house
Yeah, I'm
safely.
going to sleep. Yeah, when I get off this, I'm going to sleep.
What do you feel like? What are some uncomfortable conversations that that we need to have within the Black and Brown communities before, like, we feel like unity can be a real thing, or do you feel like it's already a real thing?
I mean, it's there.
Mm-hmm.
It's there. It's there. I think now, like, just unity is possible now because the language barrier has come down.
Mm-hmm.
Our parents and grandparents, you talking about the first couple generations of brown people who came back into the country. Most of them didn't speak the language, so they had no idea about the black experience. And we can't expect those particular brown folks to understand the experience because they didn't even really speak the language. For us, for younger black and brown people, we share more of the same culture than our parents and grandparents. We identify, understand the same music here in America. And most of the culture in America is Black American culture. So what I'm saying is the younger brown people are more integrated and in tune with Black American culture. So they understand us more based on our culture. Those older brown people who came into America, they brought their culture into America. A lot of the cuisines, and rightfully so, a lot of the
Mm-hmm.
music, a lot of the movies, a lot of television shows, a lot of the things that make you who you are. They brought that into America and they just held on to that. Now, the children that they had and sent off to school, those children are obviously had to speak and learn English. And one thing we know about Black American culture, you're not going to be in close proximity to it for too long before you fall in love with it and understand it. And that's what has happened with younger brown people in the country. So the younger brown folks can really identify with us and really more so than their parents and identify in terms of what it is to have our particular type of experience in America. Folk look at people from LA like to say, oh, the gang violence in LA has been so bad and we went to war with them and shit, but they talking about the 90s just. The 90s a
Mm-hmm.
long time. The 90s is 30, 35 years ago. Like there's a whole new set of adults in this country right now. And whatever was going on in LA in the early 1990s, that shit is behind us.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there are some people who are alive who experienced it. I don't want to undermine their experience. But what I'm saying is these new, younger generations of Black and brown people are more connected than those old generations. And the entirety of Black and brown America is not dependent upon whatever relationship that Black and brown people in the city of Los Angeles or in the state of California have. And we have
Mm-hmm.
to stop acting like that's the case. Now, a lot of these jailbird Negroes, they like to get out here and say, brown people don't like me. When that one time I was in jail, your ass should have stayed the fuck out of jail. Nigga, we know when you go to jail, you have to buddy up with who look like you.
Mm-hmm.
You're not the only one who had to do it. The white boys have to do it. The Chinese folk have to do it. The Arabs have to do it. If you mess around and end up in jail, it's gonna be divisive. You're gonna be clicked up. It's gonna be gang culture. The people who are across from you not gonna like you. There's jail culture. But they can't come to these conversations and pretend as if all of us and all of y'all can identify with jail culture. Jessica Simone don't know shit about jail culture. And the
Not at
fact that the
all.
Mexicans got to ride with the Mexicans and the black folk got to ride with the black folk, that shit irrelevant to you in your normal civilian life. And a lot of these conservative men specifically, because most of them seem to have a criminal record,
So
a
you
lot
think
of them specifically, they think that we have to live by some sort of gang or jail rules in terms of Black and brown people, and that's not the basis we have to operate on.
do you feel like cultural influence or which is more powerful, do you feel? Cultural influence or political power?
Cultural influence is different than political power to me.
Yeah, which one do you feel is
Cultural,
more powerful though?
political
Mm-hmm.
power. Political power supersedes everything. I
Mm-hmm.
think political power is more important than even money itself, and that's the confusion that a lot of Black Republicans get. They think the bag is the end goal. That's the end all be all. It's not. Political power supersedes everything else. Look at what the president is able to do. Look at what political power did for him. He would be in jail right now, and the e-files would be wide open right now. His money then put him in a position for things to be playing out this way. His political position and his political power is the reason why we don't have the e-files, and it's the reason why he's not sitting in somebody's jail cell right now. So I think that political power is more important than anything. Just I don't think there's anything else or anything else, any system, any ideas, any cultures, anything that supersedes political power. Political power is the ultimate goal for everybody.
Mm-hmm. And before we open it up for a quick little Q&A, you guys, if you come up or ask a question, make it quick, or if you're opposing anything, make it quick. Bloomberg, I know what you're gonna talk about. You're gonna talk about what we made of. I don't think you really want to come into this conversation. But my last question to you two is as a creator, what criticism do you, as a political creator, what criticism do you get the most? And do you feel like any of it is fair?
I don't think I'm political correct, just, and I say that
Was
because
a
there's a lot of
creator?
people who, right, there's a lot of people. I just want to, clarify. There's a lot of folks who dedicate themselves to politics. Like I said, I have family members who dedicated themselves to politics, and it will be wrong for me to act as if I'm a professional at that, knowing and understanding the dedication and the effort that they had to put into it. For me, I'm just a conversationalist. I like to have a conversation. And when you have a conversation, you don't have to be politically correct. This is
Mm-hmm.
why I don't tie myself to this whole political debater thing, because I'm not here to win or lose. I
Mm-hmm.
want to have the conversation. And in that conversation, I want to ask you the real question. I don't want the bullshit political response. And that's the difference between common folk and politicians. Politicians have to doctor every response to make sure it's politically appeasing to all groups of people. See, I'm gonna come on here, jump on my app, jump on my phone, just, and I'm gonna say what I want to say. I might just say I love you, or I might just say fuck you. But either way, I'm telling you how I really feel about you, and it's gonna be based in what it is, whatever it is that you're giving me. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I'm a political creator. Just uh, you guys are more of political creators than I am, because y'all, make some sort of dedication towards being more bipartisan than me and more understanding than me. Like even your space, you'll have a straight up racist white person in your space having a conversation with them and trying to come to some sort of understanding with them. Not me. I'm gonna go straight crazy. Like I'm crashing straight out. It is what it is. I don't want any understanding, and I'm gonna spend my whole time trying to tell them what's wrong with them. I don't really care about doctoring people back into society to have a relationship with them. Once I identify you as being a problem to me or some sort of enemy of me or enemy of my community, then my whole engagement with you gonna be based on the fact that you're an enemy of me. So I don't think I'm political at all, just to be honest with you. I'm just on TikTok having conversations.
Mm-hmm. But what do you feel like is a lot of, or that you hear a lot of criticism that you get, and do you feel like it's fair for them to say that for whatever it is that that critique is?
For me, it's that people say, "Oh, you caping and you capping for brown folks," but I don't care about that because I'm not
Mm-hmm.
xenophobic. For me, I see humans. And I really see humans who are melanated. Like I see melanated people more than I see anybody else. And my encounters with brown people on this app have been great encounters. Most of the majority of my following brown people. You see what I'm saying? I'm not telling black folks to go outside and march and protest and put their body on the line. I'm telling black folks to sit back, relax, and allow whatever connection that's gonna happen between black and brown America to happen. We don't gain anything by saying, aha, I told you so. You can do that once as a black person. Because I mean, we've earned the right to tell people, maybe once or twice, hey man, I told you so. But after once or twice, you have to ask yourself, why are you doing that?
Mm-hmm.
Why are you saying that? Why did you get on TikTok for a year straight and tell a group of people who being attacked by the same government that attacked us that you told them so? What do you get out of that? You don't get anything out of it. So for me, I don't really care about folks saying shit about me and trying to critique me or disagreeing with me, because I already understand that my temperament and my position and the way I'm so straightforward and blunt with shit, it's gonna be a ton of folks who not gonna like me. Just I would feel away if everybody just loved me. I would feel
Mm-hmm.
weird. I would feel awkward. So I look at enemies the same way I look at friends. They're a part of the process. And when you can look at both sides as being a part of your process, then it's not gonna sway you. I don't care if a person tell me they love me or they hate me. That's not gonna change my agenda. And my agenda is black and brown people waking up and realizing that we're not enemies of each other and that we will be stronger working together than we will be divided. So I'm not concerned with what people say about me, Jess, to be honest with
And I'm not. And one more thing that I do that sends me every time, but I do appreciate and respect, and I love it, is just when they're like, "Oh, Casso, you racist," and you say, "And yeah,
you. Yeah.
and now, because what's next? You said that. Now what's next?
Right.
Did you have a follow up?" And it just
Mhm.
proves of the that you're just trying to rage bait or make me feel bad, and I don't give a fuck. Which I appreciate because my detachment is top tier. Yeah, so the floor is open if anybody have any questions. I'm gonna give y'all a couple of minutes, and then we're gonna let Casso go. But y'all make sure y'all show Casso some love. It's important. He need to be at least 10K before we leave. So before he leaves, so don't get up here and start acting brand new. So yes, show him some love
But
right now.
in terms of them calling me racist, I don't care about that.
I know,
I
but
don't
I
give
love when you was like, and I
yeah,
am.
like,
The fuck?
I mean, what do they want me? At the end of the day, whatever I say has not caused any YT people to get put up to be strung up in trees.
Mm-hmm.
Their schools haven't been defunded. Don't have to deal with slavery. I don't take white people seriously when they cry racism. A lot of black folk entertain them and give it more weight and more power than what it should have. When a white person in my space or around me talking about some racism, I laugh in their face because it's a joke. There's no way you, a white person, gonna come to me, a black person, and convince me that you've been dealing with racism the same way I've been dealing with racism. It's a joke. That's why I laugh at them. I take it as being a joke, just.
Yeah, it sends me every time because now what? If they don't have anything, you're racist. So I can be like, no, I'm not. You want us to combat. You want us to go back and forth. Like I said, a lot of these MAGA, even Blaga, just haven't gotten any attention as a child, just need that human interaction. So if I have to be a
Mhm.
contrarian to get it, if I have to vote for the other side, or if I have to yell and cuss you out and say bad things so you could acknowledge me, then that's what they'll do. And I don't think people should underestimate um the need for attention. The need
Yeah.
for attention. It's one hell of a drug. What up, our tides? Welcome in.
What's happening? What's happening? How y'all
Yes,
doing
we're
out
gonna do
there?
like two of these, then I'm out the office.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay.
Casso, what's good with you, man? How you feeling?
RT, what's going on now?
I'm all right, man. My question for you is, and I've honestly been a little bit more silent until today, um, with the Alex Pretty Schmurder and all that stuff. Um, it hits home for me because I lost somebody in Apple Valley, Minnesota. But like, my question is, are we at the point with this where we see the outrage coming to some type of conclusions, especially with how they're deciding to back off what they're doing in Minnesota to a certain degree? Are we going to see the complacency change from those folks that are YT and for those who stand adjacent, who have been complacent with just ignoring the calls for help that have been coming for decades? Or are we at a point where it's not true? It's just a nexus that they're still willing to sit in until somebody else says, "Oh, we're gonna scream about it now too." Do you
No,
feel like we're at that point where they're
no,
gonna get out of it?
nah. White people were in 100 years war. They fought each other for about 125 years straight. You think two white bodies in the street gonna change the temperament of white America? White indoctrination desensitizes you and makes you inhumane in a way, whereas you can stomach people being unalived. Now they're pretending to be more outraged because they can see a little bit of themselves in Renee Good and Alex Pretty. But ultimately, this is what we saw. RT, we are black and we are humane. That turned our stomach in a way because we can identify with it. That's a norm in white America. We're talking about the same people who strung black folk up in trees and burned them and flayed them and chopped them into pieces and ate them and created postcards with those images. They can stomach unalive death and despair in a way in which we can't, bro. These are the people who caused two world wars, millions of people unalived in those conflicts. So when you ask the question, is this enough to make them wake up and make them change? I don't think it is. And to be honest with you, I don't think white Americans will ever wake up, and I don't think white Americans will ever change. The only thing that's going to change is their percentage of the American population. That's why we have to be on the same page as black and brown people, so that once we do go into the future RT, we're not still bickering and fighting amongst each other, and we're able to put some legislation in place that benefits all people. So no, bro, I don't think this is a wake up call for white America, and I don't think white people gonna change. I think that in 2 weeks' time, white people will be off this and on to the next thing that they collectively hate.
Respect. Appreciate that answer. I pretty much see the same thing. And to be honest, my anger got triggered a bit. That's honestly why I've been off here and ain't popped up in some of the spaces, bro. I got triggered a bit and was like still seeing it, man. The conclusion and the narrative that's been spun immediately after we got visual confirmation of what happened, it kind of set me off, bro. And it took me to a place. But I respect what you're saying, and I agree with you. And honestly, it's still disheartening, but it is where we are. So it is what it is. But I appreciate you, King. Keep doing your thing, man.
Thank Marty.
Thank you so much, Artaz. Jojo, do you had a quick question? And then I'm gonna stop it there, and then we're gonna let Casso go so he can get out and get to the house before shit get crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. First, thank you for having me up. I'm in Casso live every day, so I always love to come hear him hold court, because I call him the king, and then the royal court of panelists who are just amazing. So thank you, Casso, for creating that space. In that space, my biggest question is, when the Dames and the Danielles and the Ice come up, like, what do you see them going when the gravy train is over? Because they're already kicked off. Because my biggest question is, when Elon Musk retweets something 100% and says quote unquote white superiority, where do you white superiority or white savior or whatever, where do you fit into that? Where do Black people that worship at the foot of this disgusting person, where do you all fit into that? It's weird.
Yeah. Well, Jojo, I'm gonna say this: coons with no voice don't matter. So coons without a voice, you suppress them, you shut them up, you shut them down, you remove them. But Black people who have a voice, whether they be Black Republicans or Black Democrats, it's important for you to try to break through to them, because they have larger platforms, and you can kind of not control, but you can kind of change the narrative. The goal is to change the narrative in terms of Black creators. Convince them to have conversations based in Black people being excellent and not Black people being some sort of detriment. I use dopamine as an example because dopamine, I think, had one of the most toxic Black spaces on this side of TikTok, if you ask me. Everything that dopamine talked about was extremely harmful to the Black community, and specifically Black women, because she platformed Black women in a way that was misrepresenting Black women on the app. So for me, having conversations with dopamine and just convincing her to change her position, I feel that it was worth the engagement. I feel that it was worth the risk, and I feel it was worth trying it. Most of them won't change. Most of them built platforms on conservative white people agreeing with them. So they have to cater to that base. When they stop catering to that particular base of people on TikTok, then they won't have a platform. And that's probably the best thing. At some point, MAGA gonna sputter all the way out. And once MAGA sputter all the way out, then Black conservatives on the app, they gonna find themselves in a position to where they will have to change. But they can't change because, remember, their following is almost completely white conservative people. Now, and I said this months ago, a good majority of Black Republicans on TikTok tried to get smart, but I saw it coming. I knew they would jump over into the FBA movement, because the FBA movement has a ton of xenophobia in it. FBA movement is anti-Black woman, and the FBA movement also has some sort of love for Donald Trump. So it was an easy transition for most of these Black MAGA folk. But now the difference is, with the FBA movement, they are psychos. And they did vote for President Trump, but they do not fuck with white people the way that Black MAGA fuck with white people. So when the FBAs go into those Black MAGA panels and they see that they have 4 and 5 and 6 white folks up there voicing their opinions on the Black community, FBAs are going to clash with Black MAGA. Although they have that same sort of political ideology, although they have that same sort of temperament, they are different, and they not one and the same. For me, having conversations with people with a platform is worth it. Maybe you can convince them to change, and maybe you can convince them to stop saying certain things on their platform. I look like that. I view that as being some sort of win. But coons with no voice, they don't even matter. You can just shut them down and get them out the way.
Sorry, thank you so much for having me up. And I'm definitely FBA South, Memphis 10 checking in, baby. So thank you so much, y'all. Have a good night. Y'all be safe out there. I live in New Jersey now, but I am born and raised in the M-Town, baby.
Man, appreciate it, JoJo.
All right, y'all have a good night. Thank you so much.
Good night, Joy. Thank you, Casso. For joining us this Wednesday for We Are What's Up Wednesday. It was so good to obviously get to know you more and, expand upon Black and Brown unity and how we can help. Shout out to LM. Thank you so much. Shout out to the whole bro family for getting Casso to something. Okay, y'all be hearing me. They said, don't worry about it. We're gonna do a little bit more. Thank you so much. Any last words you got for us? And you can tell us what you got going on, what time you be live. I mean, everybody know, but just for those one or two
Yeah.
who may not know or come across it on YouTube and want to see how they can find you.
TikTok every day in the middle of the day, about 11 Central Time. For me, I don't have anything major going on right now. I have to stay private with a lot of shit, just a lot of things that I'm doing, because if I say it, then people will just be able to dox me, to be honest with you.
Understandable.
But I am launching a Black business fund this spring. So Black and Brown youth, we're gonna try and fund the upstart of 25 businesses for Black and Brown youth. Whether it be a lawn service, whether it be a few vending machines, I'm not sure yet. We still putting it together, but y'all can expect me to have a GoFundMe for that and some other fundraising methods put in place for that here soon. But aside from that, we just gonna keep having conversations and just try to keep waking folk up. Brown people, y'all going through a lot, but in the midst of going through all of this, y'all got to find yourselves, find your way over to Black spaces and have conversations with Black people. I think that all brown folk out there, especially ones who are on TikTok, you should be having conversations with Black people. All of that, we better than Black folk. We not really Black folk. We not real Black folk. That's not gonna help you now, because the brown community is going through something that only we have survived historically on this side of the ocean, and being Black folks, Indigenous people, brown people. I look at y'all as being one thing in that particular statement. I know that the Native people survived, but in terms of surviving and thriving and going straight into the eye of the storm, that's something that Black folk have done. So brown people, open yourselves up and be willing to have conversation with Black people, but also listen and receive information given to you from Black folk. Don't go to Black people trying to teach Black people brown history. That's not going to help you in this moment. You guys need to learn as much as you can learn about the Black community, because what we've went through and what we've survived is the same thing that you guys in your community need to survive what's going on in the country right now. That's it for me, Jess. I appreciate you.
Of course, no problem. Thank you so much, Casso. Y'all drop some more crowds with Casso. Thank you so much. I'm gonna let you go and be safe out there, please. And also too, if you guys are looking for if you guys are over on YouTube and you can't find Casso Speaks on TikTok, you can also go to wearewhatsleft.org. And there is a plethora of creators for you to be able to follow, and you will find Casso there. Just click on learn more and it will take you straight to his TikTok. It will tell you what he fights about and one of his favorite quotes as well. So again, that's wearewhatsleft.org. If you're over on the tube, we're not going to end here. I'm going to end on the tube. I'll start another one for Jasmine Crockett if you guys want to continue to do that. We'll see where we're at. We might just end it for the night. But thank you so much for joining us on YouTube as well. We appreciate you guys. Make sure you like the live. Make sure you subscribe.